Hey, good morning, everybody. Joe Gehring from Anderson Trucking Service. We have a special guest with us today on our ATS Live Ask Us Anything. So, for anybody who joined us last night, myself and Jimmy Williams spent about an hour online talking through basically every week we try to make sure we're bringing a new topic for discussion. And the Ask Us Anything clearly is 100% about we want to have an open forum. Go ahead and shut it, Dottie. We want to have an open forum to where we want to do these live sessions on our public site to where any questions that any prospect drivers have got, any of our active drivers, I always immediately want to start out by saying thank you to our Anderson drivers, whether you're company drivers, you're contractors. We had a ton of you guys on with us last night, and man, does that make it nice for us, because at the end of the day, what we're saying, when it's getting reinforced by our drivers that are out there doing the job, there's no better, probably, I'm not going to use the word promotion. What's the right word, Samantha? There's no better way to acknowledge what it is that we're trying to do here. So, but basically last night we spent our time talking about how we make our drivers successful, whether in their businesses as an independent contractor or in our company side, talking about the big machine behind the windows, which is, we know you got your fleet manager, but we've got a huge staff behind the scenes that are doing all those little things that add up, that could be distracting you from pickup times, picking up on time, delivering on time, making sure you're safe, making sure that you're just getting the job done right. And all of those administrative things is exactly what Sam and her team does. So, Sam, welcome.
Exactly. Thank you. Thank you to everybody. I see a couple people hopping on. Hi, Brandy, Paul, welcome. Just for introduction's sake, I'd just like to introduce myself. So my name is Samantha Dwyer. I currently manage our driver settlement and contractor services team, and my teams are just really there to help make our drivers' lives so much easier. We really are in charge of anything in regards to finances and all of the small little details as far as businesses that our drivers really need help with, or that we can help take their time and better use it towards hauling loads and making revenue and earning big checks. And so we take all the small details and we take care of those for all of our drivers, regardless if it's a contractor or a company driver. That's what my team does. We're really here for you.
Well, and so Samantha, so yesterday, the recruiting guys, so me and Jimmy, we know the broad picture of all the programs, the pay, the home time, the equipment. Samantha's the pro at everything that happens after a new driver comes on board or for our existing drivers. And the details. So Samantha, I'm going to obviously ask you to kind of go through what you think differentiates us from our competitors. And we know a lot of carriers do a very good job, but we try to be a notch above and really paying attention to everything that we know that's a distraction or a point of frustration, point of delay for a driver, whatever those things might be. But really quick, you guys see some Yeti mugs out in front of me. So we had a great idea last night. Unfortunately, it was after the fact. So we call these things ATS Live Ask Us Anything, because 100% of the purpose is for us to be able to just have a discussion. And if we're not getting questions in that we can address, kind of makes it sound like we're just kind of a recorded video of talking about what we want to talk about. Right. So for today's session, we're going to be taking a look at questions that are coming in, and we are going to select a couple of winners based on the questions that we're getting that if you won because you've thrown a great picture out, and by the way, Paul, you don't count because you were on last night. Joking, if you throw me a good question, I might get you a mug. But after the session is done, if you're the winner of one of these Yeti mugs, we'll private message you and let you give us the best way for us to get this mailed to you. And from last night, we're going to go back through all the questions that we had, and we're going to do the same thing. And this is probably going to be something that we're going to be doing more frequently. So just be aware there is a little gift for those of you that jump in and participate and challenge us with some questions. And if you're an active driver and you've got a statement that's pretty strong that me and Sam maybe weren't thinking about, you're also qualifying for this. So while we're waiting for some questions to come up, Samantha, can we go ahead? Yeah, please. And by the way, I'm going to introduce Sam K. Sam is the one that keeps all the technology running for us in the background when something crashes and the old guy over here doesn't know what to do. So thanks for joining us, Samantha.
Absolutely.
I got two Sams, so I can't get it wrong today. So really quick, Samantha, yesterday we kind of framed it as we have the people and the resources in place to try to make sure that our contractors are being successful. Now, we know that our company driver success is equally important, but what we do for a contractor and what we do for a company driver, there are some similarities, but there are also some things that are specific that are different between the two. You want to just take a little bit of time and kind of give a broader picture of exactly what that means?
Right. So just to give you an idea, so Joe's absolutely right. The success of both of our contractors and our company drivers is equal. But what we do is we separate the two because each different type of driver needs something different. And so our contractors have different goals and needs than our company drivers. So we really take those and we personalize them for every type of driver. So our contractors may need help with sole proprietor or LLC or business documents, and we take care of those and we handle a lot of the details for them, guide them through the process. We may have contractors that own their own tractors, and we guide them through what paperwork they need, and we make sure that their onboarding process or even their transfer process is smooth and they have all of the details up front. Now, our company drivers may have needs as far as equipment not working. So either their transponders or their fuel cards, those things, we take care of all the details. We troubleshoot them for them.
Good.
Anything to do to help our drivers keep their focus on the road and hauling those loads. That'll in turn create the bigger paychecks.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, so I'm the guy that likes to bring up the things that a lot of trucking companies don't like to talk about. But if I could ask, what tend to be a couple of the pain points that we've learned over the years for our drivers, and what are some of the things that we've done to remove those pain points?
Yeah, so I would say coming from my side of the world, I deal with a lot of the paperwork, and to drivers in most industries, especially ours, paperwork is kind of the swear word as to what their job entails. I get it. And nobody loves to do paperwork, but I guess I'm kind of the odd one out where I thrive in the paperwork environment. So ATS has really taken the hindrance of our drivers needing to turn in paperwork, and we have this amazing driver app. And our driver app is really a great vessel for our drivers to send in paperwork to Anderson directly to us. Settlements can go out so much faster. We have direct communication with our drivers. We make a lot of things electronic. And so, I mean, it's as simple as taking a picture now. So you don't have to worry about scanners or feeding paper through or having a scanner eat a piece of paper. I mean, that happens. So, it's easy as taking a picture now. And we try to do everything we can to create success and to create efficiencies. And with the driver app, that's a big one.
Good. Well, I can tell you that the driver app, what did we launch that? How long ago? Probably over 2 years ago?
I would say that, yeah.
Well, so for our active drivers that are on board, and we've got a couple of those watching today, and for those of you that have been joining since, I see a few more folks in the audience. So welcome to the ATS Live event. What we're talking about, basically what we do within our contractor services department and settlements department. So Samantha, one of the things is, when we talk about the difference between a contractor and a company driver, I've gotten a lot of questions on, we hear that there's this new rapid settle for contractors. Why can't that happen for company drivers? Do you mind kind of walking it through? And I know a lot of it has to do because of the work that we're doing behind the scenes for upside pay and that new program that's in place that's really been benefiting our company drivers. You have to just talk a little bit more about that and really what rapid settle is.
Of course. So to get right down to the definition, let's address rapid settle first. So rapid settle is an amazing program that ATS rolled out about 2 years ago. And a rapid settle really came into consideration and communication by listening to our drivers. A lot of our current drivers know that we have annual in-persons where we take feedback. We actually have someone write down the feedback from our drivers in those meetings, and it gets funneled into the office. And so Rapid Settle was formed due to the feedback from our drivers. So what Rapid Settle is we had a lot of drivers that said, hey, I really need a settlement more than once a week. And that's true and fair for some drivers. Some drivers only want 1 week settlement, and some want to pay quicker. So we develop Rapid Settle, and what it does is the minute you turn in your paperwork, we'll settle you 48 business hours after you turn it in. So if you deliver a load and send in your paperwork on Monday, you're going to have a settlement on Wednesday, which is pretty amazing in the grand scheme of things. It gets the money in your hands as fast as possible. So that's the Rapid Settle program. The other program we had for our contractors is once a week, and that's standard. Turn in your paperwork by Sunday, and your settlement is delivered to you by Wednesday of that same week. in regards to our company drivers and why contractors and company drivers are settled differently. In terms of obvious reasons, we know that our contractors don't have the taxes affected in their settlements, but we know our company drivers do. So when we take a look at taxes and then combine upside pay for it, we want to make sure that our company drivers are paid as accurately as possible in regards to the IRS or the tax laws and rules for that.
And I'm going to pause a quick second.
Yeah.
Take a couple seconds because we always have folks in our audience that don't know Anderson and they don't know what upside means. So you want to just take the time to kind of talk through the evolution, because we actually talked a little bit yesterday where we started at the 23% and now it's already up to 28%. But could you just explain upside pay for our company drivers?
Would love to. Yeah. So just like Rapid Settle, upside pay was developed because our drivers wanted more of us. And so we took that feedback and we knew that as a carrier to be even better for our drivers, we needed to develop a unique way to pay our company drivers. And so upside pay was developed of that. What upside pay is it takes two different pay methods, a percentage pay method and a cents per mile pay method, and it compares the two with every single load a company driver hauls. If a company driver were to be making more on the load, paid percentage, that's what they would receive. If a driver were to be making more on mileage, that's what they're going to receive. For every load a company driver hauls with us, they're going to see both numbers. They'll see a percentage number and they'll also see the mileage number. We value transparency here, and I think it's really important to give the drivers both sets of numbers so that they know exactly what they're hauling up front, they know exactly what they're getting paid for it. And then in terms of evolution of upside pay was created about 3 years ago, and we started at 23%. So you either were paid 23% on the load and all of the funds in the load, or you were paid your cents per mile, whichever one was greater.
And just to set the framework a little bit, at the 23%, our company drivers were averaging across the board on a weekly basis already up to 65 cents on both sides.
Yes.
And with these changes, we're now at or above 75 cents a mile for our company drivers. And that's, the bottom line is it's just an attribute to show that we are getting the additional funds. We had company drivers on with us last night that have not been with us that long, telling us about their settlement checks being over $2,000 on a weekly basis.
That's incredible.
So, listen, it is. So, very exciting.
Yeah, I agree.
So on the contractor side, so you're talking about the transparency on upside for company drivers. Can you explain a little bit about how the load offers are being presented to our contractors?
Yeah, absolutely. So load offers go out pretty standard. When you are empty or even before you're empty, the planners will send out load offers and they'll have all of the funds in the load detailed for you. Everything in terms of line haul, if there's stop pay, TARP, detention, any kind of additional pay is going to be outlined for you. And what you'll do is when you come through orientation, we onboard really well here. I truly believe that we onboard so well. You'll have a really clear understanding as to what percentage you come in as, and then what you can expect to make over the next so many years that you decide to continue your career here with ATS. So you will see your load offer. It's very transparent, and you do the calculations as far as your percentage, and that's exactly what you're going to be settled at. So with our contractors, you will see the same amount of transparency as our company drivers do.
Good.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, and you guys, like I said, sometimes these 11 o'clock in the mornings are a little quiet, so I'm happy to know that there's a lot of folks that are probably going to be watching this when they're pulling into their spot tonight at whatever truck stop you're staying at or whatever ship or consignee. So if you're watching this later on tonight or over the weekend sometime, just know that we monitor the comments that are coming through. And so if we don't get to something during the live event right now, both Samantha and I will be taking a look at the comments, and we'll make sure that 100% of anything that comes out after the fact is being responded to. So try to take advantage. Again, we got a little kind of, not a contest per se, but a little bit of fun with these Yeti mugs up front here, Joe. So basically the top 2 questions that we get today, you're getting one of these awesome ATS Yeti mugs, and we'll private message you and make sure we get it off to you. But definitely need a few more questions, or I'm going to just have Sam make sure you get through all your bullet points of talking to a new or prospect contractor, or talking to a new or prospect company driver as it relates to what you do for them. What do you think is the most, and why don't we just start with contractors?
Sure.
Kind of just go through kind of from top to bottom of kind of what the package looks like for what we do for our contractors, and then just do the same thing for our company drivers, if you don't mind.
Yeah, not a problem. Contractors are fun to start with because your possibilities and your options are quite endless here. So a contractor could come into Anderson as a lease, as a true owner, would you own your truck over the road, or you could come into one of our many financing abilities with our Truck Power Freightliner of St. Cloud vendors. So we have quite a bit of fun with our contractors, as do we with our company drivers, but you definitely get the options with our contractors. So what we do is we really help guide you through that process, whether it be you're coming in as an LLC, not quite sure if you want an LLC, or if you want a sole proprietor, or you're not quite sure what paperwork you need for your truck. We have a team to help all of our drivers, and we start with working with Joe's team so closely to just make sure that all of our drivers have all the information right up front. So there's no hiding anything, there's no getting to orientation and you have surprises, because nobody likes surprises. So we really make sure that all of the information is out there, and the expectations as far as what paperwork we need are already set. So you're not going to come into orientation and have 14 other things that you need.
Right.
You will know exactly what you need.
And I'm going to interject something. So, we hire nationally, and every state has got different laws,
Yes.
Especially when we're dealing with LLCs, for example, New York and a few others. So just anybody who's watching, just understand that as frustrating as it gets when you're working with the recruiting department, and they're saying, hey, we need this, we need this, we need this. Do understand that this is the lady that says
Yes.
we need it, but there's a why behind this, and I want to be really clear on this. We don't want to have you guys leaving another position, coming all the way up here to St. Cloud, Minnesota, to find out that something is a problem that we should have known about, because it wasted your time. It's going to add to the frustration. So we just want to know that when you get here to our orientation, that all that administrative stuff is through the system, it's been approved, and that you guys can participate in the orientation for what it's meant to be, not trying to put out fires because we can't find a 2290, we can't find this, that, or the other. So I just want to interject that we are trying to be proactive to make sure that you're successful coming through.
Yes.
So
yeah, it's really not the recruiters, it's my team and myself being fun suckers,
Yep.
but making sure that we do it the right way the first time though. And in the long run, it does really benefit our drivers. ATS has a strong value system, and we just believe in honesty and doing it right the first time. And part of that is getting the paperwork right the first time. So as much as it's a hardship for you or our drivers coming in, we really do it the right way.
I would rather do it once.
That's right. And we would rather do it as a benefit for you as the driver. Heaven forbid we don't do it right and then something's wrong as far as finances when you do your taxes, or when you need a title change, or you go to buy a truck.
Right.
That I don't know if I could sleep at night knowing that we did it wrong on purpose.
Right. Nope, that's
Yeah,
right. And by the way, I want to throw it out there. So, for David out there and Turk. So, Turk, you're definitely probably going to be a top runner for getting one of these Yeti mugs, because I'll just give it to you personally when you get up here. I love it when I'm finding out that somebody's going to be here in a couple of weeks. So, can't wait to meet you. Anyway, back over to you, Sam.
Yeah, no, that's all right. So the other things that we do for our contractors is once they get here in orientation, they make that trip up, we get to meet you face to face, which is one of my favorite parts about orientation is that we don't put a screen in front of you and we don't make you do worksheet after worksheet after worksheet. You get to have conversations with not only my departments, but you get to have conversations with the top executives and senior leadership here at ATS. So we really revolve around the driver. Our environment revolves around the driver, and the entire office does. I mean, we are here for our drivers. So you'll get to meet us all in person, and we talk you through everything. We work through anything from contracts to transponders to fuel cards, anything that you could possibly need for your success. We work through it for you, and more than likely, we're going to help them through it, and we're going to do a lot of that for them. So we take a lot of the stressors as far as permits and the legal permit things and transponders. You don't have to worry about that with ATS. It is a package deal. You really get that service complimentary. It's not like we charge for that either. So which is quite an industry standard to set.
Well, and I want to throw that out. So because we've got a question out there which I love hearing about it. So hey, Dave, appreciate it. So Samantha, obviously, there's a lot of talk out there about what our percentage is, and we know that new contractors come on board at 65%, and with tenure you can work up to 67%. And, it's always, is the percentage going to be greater? One of the things that I want to throw out there, but Sam, you know a lot more because you're always close to all these pay program changes that we're doing. But you got to realize, you can tell what else I'm missing here, but when we don't charge anything for trailer rental, there are no expenses coming to you for that. The majority of these folks that are above our 67%, you might be getting paid 70%, 72%, but the amount of fixed weekly costs and daily costs that a contractor incurs as a true contractor versus what we just give to you for no charge, that's where that offsets. And Dave, all I can say is Sam and I work very close together every week looking at what is the ranges of our earnings for our company drivers, what are the ranges for our contractors. We have never seen, even at the 67%, with the spot market of what we've been doing this entire year, what we expect through the rest of this year and into next year, you guys are killing it. And I don't think you'll disagree with that. So at this time, I'm not sure we're going to, but I'm hoping that you're enjoying what you're making right now. Now, we're always going to try to make sure we can work on the back end to keep making sure we can keep any expenses at a bare bone minimum. That's the biggest thing that we can do for a contractor because it is your business. You're out there making your own decisions. But all of those expenses that come with being a contractor that are the contractor's responsibility, we try to keep an eye on those things. But you have a few more examples as it relates to that?
Yeah, I think we do a lot for our contractors, and yeah, 67 is the top earning. But like you said, it is still industry top pay for that 67%. One of the big things and big costs that come to mind for our contractors would be tolls. So we do offer a toll transponder, but then ATS passes on the toll discount to our contractors. So we not only have that transponder available, but we say, listen, if we're not getting charged full price, then why should you? So we really end up helping our drivers gain our volume discounts in so many different ways.
100%.
Yeah, the same thing goes with tires. If we have a true owner operator that needs tires, we will allow them to use our discount to get those tires and to pay for them with the ATS discount, which could be anywhere from 3 to 7%, which is quite a bit when you talk about a full set of tires.
Right. Do you keep your eyes much on what we do with our fuel surcharge for our contractors?
Yeah, so our contractors, our fuel surcharge is different with each division, but we do keep it at industry standards. Our van contractors are paid exactly what we bill the customer, so it's a pass-through, through and through. You're seeing exactly what we bill the customer for. And then our flatbed drivers, our flatbed contractors, it's a fuel surcharge program. It's based on the national average, so we do keep quite a bit of an eye on it and make sure that our drivers are fairly compensated.
Do you know what the amount is today?
Not as of today. I think it fluctuates every week, but I could definitely post a comment a little bit later and get back to you guys.
It's actually on our Drive for ATS website, everybody. So if you guys go to Drive for ATS, it's something that we keep updated so you guys are aware of what that means when it comes to your actual fuel expenses on a week-to-week basis. So good stuff out there. But good question. Anything more on the contractor side, or do you want to slide it a little bit into the company side?
Well, I'll take a little bit more time. It looks like Austin had asked a question as far as what do I expect coming to ATS for a contractor. So let's dive a little bit in that for you, Austin, and really kind of give you some details. As far as the contractor, you're going to get a really open environment. Coming into orientation, it's a classroom style orientation. You'll get to be introduced to many different departments, all of which are here to help our drivers and support our drivers to become as successful as they would like to be. If you are coming in with any type of LLC or business paperwork, we'll guide you through that. Otherwise, we set you up for success. We have the trucks available, and Joe can talk a little bit more to that aspect. But then we set the contracts up. You know exactly what your deductions are going to be while in orientation.
Yeah.
Everything is transparent. You know exactly to the penny what is going to come out of your settlement every week for insurance or other things that you've elected to go for. But a lot of that thing is just guiding that contractor through orientation.
Right.
And it can depend on the length of time, depending on if you come in as a van driver or a flatbed driver. But that's what you can expect. We have a very relaxed environment here, very family oriented. I truly believe that we are family here, and we really live and breathe that. And I think that's why all of our drivers are so successful is because they're family to us.
Agreed. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to add on a little bit on that. So, when you're coming on board as a contractor, you are your own boss. You're leasing a truck. You can make your own decisions. But one of the things that I stress, and I've been here for 31 years, and the majority of our active drivers do know me personally and professionally. I'm grateful for that. But at the end of the day, we know that a lot of companies are saying, you're the contractor, you go manage it, go deal with it. Here at ATS, we want you to be successful. Your success is our success. And so, we might be a little bit more direct. We keep talking about transparency, but we're going to give you some pretty solid recommendations, sometimes probably advice that you don't want to hear, but it does make a difference in the success of your business. And working together between what we've learned over 68 years and the experience that you're bringing on, we always find that medium ground to where you can be successful with us, you can be successful for us, and that longevity can go on for a very long time.
I agree. You're absolutely right. We talk about business partners. I mean, we are truly business partners together with our contractors. But the transparency, it does go both ways. And Joe, you're absolutely right, especially when we talk about the settlement side of the world. For our drivers, sometimes those aren't very fun conversations to have, but we have those honest and transparent conversations respectfully.
Right.
And even though they may be difficult, they're sometimes needed.
We talk about throwing the elephant on the table when we say this is an Ask Us Anything. I'm grateful for all the comments that are starting to come in right now. And I just want to say, so Dwayne, looking forward to seeing you on Monday. Dontre, love to hear that things are going good since you've started on board with us. And we're going to get to all of these, so I'd like to kind of back up just a little bit. But as far as what to expect, Austin, the reality is most trucking companies, you've got a truck, make and model to pick from. I'm not going to throw companies' names out there, but we know that a lot of these companies use this particular make and model. Anderson is invested to where you've got a choice of a Freightliner, you've got a choice of a Peterbilt, you've got a choice of a Volvo. For our lease program, especially the 1 and 2 year lease, there's really no skin in the game for a brand new contractor trying us out. That initial contract is to give you guys, I call it a courtship. Gives you guys the opportunity to find out who we are, how we run, and those completion bonuses that you always hear us talking about. The purpose of those is that we want to know that the majority of you guys are confident enough on being successful at ATS that you're now going to invest that into a longer term lease and to where you build that equity in that truck that you're going to eventually purchase and own. So we try to make sure that you've got a career path, not what can we do for you for the next 2 months. It's you come to ATS, you stay with ATS. We want you to know that you can continue to grow that career path and continue being successful year over year. So I hope that answers any specific questions you've got, Austin. That's a really broad question, but anything like that, or if we didn't answer it, just throw it up there because that's what we're here to talk about. And like Samantha was just saying, sometimes we have those hard discussions. Listen, folks, as an over-the-road driver, if you're rolling, you're making money. If you're at the house, you're not making money. And I have to say the biggest thing is just make sure that if ATS is the home for you, that our successful drivers, they want the lifestyle of being out 2 weeks, going home for 3 days. They want to be out 3 weeks, they go home for 4.5 days. So for every week out, it's a day and a half through the house. Contractors, you can stay home as long as you want to, but if you don't work within that model, your chances for success are not as likely as the driver that works that model. Would you agree?
I would agree. Yeah. And that goes for both company and our contractors.
Yep. Okay. Hey, no problem at all, David. I appreciate that. I'm going to get caught up. So keep talking on the contractor side. I want to make sure that we're kind of covering things on the company side too, because our fleet mix is pretty equal right now. And so we like to make sure, one of the things I'm the proudest of is that Anderson Trucking has got that model to, if you want to be a contractor, here are your options. If you want to be a company driver, here are our options, whether it's lease, whether it's company, whether it's transferring from one division to the next. We only ask one thing: whatever you come here for, do it for a full year, and then let's look at those options, because we don't want to be playing the chess game of moving folks around. So we'd rather slow down and have the driver take an extra week or two to make up their mind. So when they come here, they're coming in for the position that's right for them, and it's something that they're going to commit to for at least a year.
I agree.
And knowing that our average tenure here is right around that 5-year mark, that's our goal. We're not looking, I always say this, we're not looking to rent a driver for a couple of months. We're looking to contract and hire professionals that want to partner with us and have that long-term relationship.
Yeah, I agree. So then we'll shift a little bit and we'll go over to the company side as far as how we help those drivers. So with our company drivers, they really come in and our orientation is in Porter, Indiana. So instead of coming here to St. Cloud, they're in Indiana. And we have a great staff down there that guides them through a very similar process, very transparent, open, and they still get to meet face to face with most people here in St. Cloud. In terms of that, what my team steps in and helps with is we make sure that understanding how to read a settlement statement, understanding how to use their fuel card, how to be reimbursed for things that they are eligible to be reimbursed for works. And we take them through that entire process so that the minute that they get on the road, they know that they have an entire team behind them, knowing that they will make them successful and earning as much as they can.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. So, sorry.
I want to make sure, because we're getting down to the time and we never stop as long as questions are coming. And so
Yeah.
Austin, I see your other question and I'll address that.
Yeah.
But Sam, of the most important things that you think for our audience of our active drivers and our prospect drivers, anything else that you think regarding what you and your department manage that you'd like to make sure they're aware of?
Yeah, when a driver comes in, I think the biggest thing that I can iterate to anybody that's coming in is if you don't turn in your paperwork with your settlements, you won't get paid. And that's the biggest hardship that our current drivers face. And so with anybody coming into orientation, you're going to know that one of the first things that I'm going to tell you is no paperwork, no pay, right? Mm-hmm. So they go hand in hand. We do have a lot of services that make that easy for our drivers. And we have operations that will gladly put you under a load that will make you money. But
do we have scanners in all trucks?
We have the ability for scanners in all trucks.
Okay.
So right now our scanners are optional for our drivers.
Okay.
They can choose to have the driver app or a scanner, or they could use both. So we really have endless opportunity. So that would be one of the harder conversations that I usually have with drivers while they're here in orientation is that I just stress paperwork. And I know you guys don't like to do it, so that's why we have the driver app. Take a picture, scan it if you want to, but it won't help anything if you keep it to yourself.
Amen. So how about a couple of seconds talking about some of the transition we're doing with tablets?
Oh, yes.
Getting a lot of questions about that and
Yes.
the timing of it and what's the, at what point should everybody expect to be getting them? So I don't even know the details. So do you have a little bit more information?
Yeah, well, I think operations is really driving this to convert the entire fleet over to Omni One, our new tablet system. So I'm quite at arm's length of it, but I do know that they're really neat. They have the driver app directly right on it. You can see your driver settlements, your e-logs are right on it. It has a camera feature, and it is a tablet. I think it's an iPad or a tablet, some sort of like that. So you don't have a big clunky computer object in your truck now. This is really user friendly. I'm not quite sure what the process is on how they get them. I think they're coming in during PMs or during truck transfers or switches, things like that.
Any idea how many are out there right now?
I know we have quite a few actually.
Installed already?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep, absolutely. I'm not quite sure the percentage, but I know that there's quite a few out there. And I know that there's a push to get them. Drivers seem to love them. Because of the functionality and the features that they have, work really nice. And a lot of the users and our drivers are already used to using a tablet or an iPad in their technology anyway. So this just adds to the features that they have now available in their trucks.
Right, good.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm going to jump to a couple of questions here. So Austin, you had another question, and I'm the guy, again, I've been here a long time. So we've always, every company has got contract drivers. I'm going to tell you that because of our hiring guidelines, it doesn't work, and I'll tell you why it doesn't work. Unless it's a really close family and it's a family member possibly doing something where they understand, if you're making 65 or 66 or 67%, that we're paying the owner of that truck that amount. And if that driver qualifies to work for Anderson Trucking, they can go do the lease and get that themselves without any investment of getting into a lease truck. So great question. We get a lot of folks that want to do that, but at the end of the day, there's going to be something to where you're getting paid whatever the truck grossed, and of that you've made some kind of an agreement with that contract driver, and they've done it before, but they tend to last maybe 2 or 3 months, and we don't encourage it because realistically, if they can go make that money directly by themselves, unless there's a personal reason why they're doing it, it usually doesn't work out. So I hope that answers your question. And since you're going to be here next week, if you like a couple of minutes with me one-on-one, Austin, I'll be glad to spend some time. Hey, so Louis, bottom line is, I love the direct questions. So we try to make sure we're getting the majority of it to you guys. But listen, there is a cost to detention to Anderson Trucking Service as well. So, when you're talking about why aren't we getting 100%, that trailer you're pulling, there's a lot of different parts of this to where that delay is a delay for you, but it's also a delay for Anderson Trucking Service. And I'm going to just put it out there. I do it every ATS Live. My name is Joe Gehring, the old guy who's been around forever. My email is the easiest email of all of Anderson Trucking. It's joe@atsinc.com. And so I can talk specifically with you, Lewis, to make sure I'm understanding exactly if you've got a concern or if you think that something's not quite right, to talk it through. But to answer your question, there's no way that 100% would ever get paid, because there's that delay and that detention is costing expenses to more than just our driver, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Good.
Your recruiters are gonna keep calling you the old guy if you keep calling yourself the old guy.
Well, the good news is that the guy in our team that gets called the old guy, it's actually his birthday today. His name is Robbie, and they all refer to him as the old guy. And I sent him a note this morning saying, I'm really grateful that you're the old guy, and everybody knows I've got over 10 years on you. So
Oh my
life is good.
goodness. Well, shout out to Robbie. Happy birthday.
Okay. Hey, and Lewis, thanks for the follow-up. And you guys, again, we call this ATS Live Ask Us Anything. Every question is important to us. And for those of you that know me, I am the guy that will never evade any question in front of any audience. I think the transparency is part of, I'm a big believer in the culture of Anderson Trucking of integrity. We may not give you the answers that you want to hear, but we're going to make sure that we don't try to skip around it. We want to have everybody walking away with a clear understanding of, my big statement is always, make sure you explain the why. It's not that complicated. So we're kind of to the end of this. Great questions at the end, so we'll be reaching out to the winners of the mugs. Some of you guys coming in, I might just decide to give you one just because you're going to be in our orientation this upcoming week. So I want to thank you. Sam, anything that you want to say in closing?
No, well, it's been an honor. Thank you for having me. Come back anytime you ask. But again, if you're watching this after the fact, please comment. I'll watch these. I will reach out personally if needed, and we'll get you the answers that you need. Just remember, ATS is behind every one of our drivers, making sure that we're here to succeed. You have an entire office of support staff behind each one of our drivers, making sure that they have the tools that they need to succeed and achieve their goals. But I just want to say thank you for having me today.
You bet. Awesome. Thank you, Samantha. Listen, you do a great job, because it's one job to identify what we feel is the top 5% of the drivers out there in the industry. It's another thing that once we get them here, to make sure that process continues. And the onboarding is only step one. It's that's our opportunity to get your attention to do it right. Keeping you happy after you're through the orientation process is where you guys really fall in. You and the fleet managers and the sales group. So just thanks for everything that you guys do. David, I'm going to ask you, do me a favor. I'd love to hear from you. I just gave my email address. It's down there somewhere, Mr. Elvers, but I think you said you've got a tablet. I'd love to get a private email from you to tell me what exactly you like or don't like about the tablets. I'm hearing a lot of good things, but I haven't heard a lot of specifics from the folks that have them. So it's kind of a new rollout for me. So if you're willing to spend a couple of minutes to send me a note, I'd sure appreciate that. For everybody else who joined, again, thanks for joining us. We're going to stay committed to doing this. We're going to be changing the time a little bit. This 11 o'clock just doesn't seem to be the right time for a lot of drivers. We've got some feedback from polls. So we had already advertised we were doing it today at 11, but today will be the last Thursday at 11. We'll stick to Thursday, but we're thinking about doing this more like at 4 o'clock, maybe 5 o'clock, where, one of those times. If you could please give us feedback, even in comments, if you're watching this live or if you're watching this after, we concluded, please throw a comment in there to tell us what time of the day is ideal for you guys to participate and to ask these questions. Because again, without the questions, this is kind of useless. And with the questions, it's really just an affirmation of transparency. We love to tell it. We don't hide anything. We love to get in the fine print. So welcome to everybody who's coming in next week that's online. For those of you considering it, take the time to check out drive4ats.com on both our Facebook page, on our website, and we'll let you know when the next session is going to be. Thanks, everybody.